Hi folks, welcome back. Thank you for watching. Please do hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. It really does help when you do that. So today folks, I've got a pedal to show you from one of my favourite pedal companies, which is Crazy Tube Circuits over in Greece. Now this pedal isn't brand new on the market, it's been out for a little while now, but I want to show it to you today because it sounds absolutely phenomenal. This here is the Crazy Tube Circuits Venus. Now, at its heart, this pedal is based on the Butler Tube Driver. This has a tube in it, just like the original, but the first thing you'll notice is it runs off a standard pedalboard supply and it's very small. The originals were huge and had to be mains powered unless they were heavily modified. So this straight away is infinitely more functional in a modern guitar rig because you can just put it on your pedalboard with top mounted jacks like you would any other pedal. You'll need a slightly high current supply because it does have the tube in it, but as long as you can give it the juice, this will run off a standard pedal power supply. Now, as I mentioned, this does have a tube in it. The original BK Butlers have a 12AX7 as standard. This pedal, however, and I did write this down, has an ECC 832 tube, which, as I understand it, is kind of a hybrid between like a 12AX7 and I think an AT7, a slightly lower gain tube. But you can substitute any 12A tube into this pedal for different tonal effects. So you can run it on an AX7, AT7, AV7, AU7, whatever you want. You can just pop the tube in and off you go. Now, the most sought after BK Butler tube drivers have a fifth control on the top, which is a bias control. And this pedal has exactly that. So with it all the way up, the pedal is as smooth as it gets. But as you turn it down, the tube starts to kind of sag and splutter a little bit. And as you get it all the way down, it becomes really kind of gated and extra spongy. So you can dial the feel in more than anything, but also some kind of slightly more sort of saggy sounds with the bias control. It does drop the level a bit, so you have to compensate with the volume, but as long as you're prepared to do that, you can get a lot of different feels out of the bias control. Now you get drive and volume just like you do on the original. But most importantly, I think, if you've ever seen someone like Eric Johnson using the BK Butler Tube Driver, the originals just have a 2-band EQ high and low. And to get a mid-pushed sound like Eric likes, he has to turn both EQs pretty much all the way down to just leave the mid-range for that mid-pushed sound. Not the case on the Venus, you have a 3-band EQ. So you can use the mid control to make it really kind of tube screamery all the way up, or turn it down for kind of scoopy metal thing, and then you can set the highs and lows where you might actually want them, rather than having to turn them all the way down just to get the mid-pushed sound. So the 3-band EQ is a wonderful addition to the circuit. But that's not all, you also get 2 buttons. Now the first one up here is marked tight, and essentially what that is a bit of a high pass filter. So if you've got a nice kind of thick sound with a low control, but it's just kind of hitting the front end of your amp and making things sag a bit too much, you can hit the tight switch, it just takes some of the sub frequencies out, just makes it a little bit more usable if you're really slamming the front end of the amp or running it super loud. But you also get this button down here marked line driver. Now the circuit in its standard form gives out a high impedance signal, which if you're using a long cable run, some people can find desirable because a high impedance signal going down a long cable run will roll some of the top end off. Some people like that, but other people don't. So this button gives you the best of both worlds. With it out, you get the standard high impedance output. With it in, it cuts it down to a low impedance output. All of your top end will be kept intact regardless of how long a cable you're running, and it gives you a slight level boost just to make sure the signal gets down the cable correctly. So subtle tonal differences, but a lot of functionality just in that switch. So what I'm going to do today, folks, is just plug a guitar into this pedal, into a tube amp at volume, and just go through all the different sounds it can create. Because I used to have a BK Butler tube driver, this gets astonishingly close to the sounds I remember, but of course goes so much further as well. So I cannot wait to show it to you today. So please do comment underneath and let me know what you think of the Venus today, folks. I love chatting nerdy guitar stuff with you folks down in the comment section. And without further ado, here we go.